that broke your heart. It turned your tables, left you feeling alone. But now you are able, it fell apart. You have no saviors, but what remains is something that's greater. We can love without limits, we can live in brand new ways. We can learn, we are capable of bringing brighter days. We can grow in unspeakable and extraordinary ways, 'cause we're greater. 'Cause we're greater. 'Cause we're greater. 'Cause we're greater. Now the work may be hard and the times may be rough, but what we have found is that we are able. So when you get down, get up off your knees, get back into this fight, 'cause with you we're greater. All we have after the fog fades is each other, and that is greater. All we have after the fog fades is each other, and that is greater. We're greater than, 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 we're greater where we've been. We're greater than, 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 we're greater where we've been.
Hello, beautiful people. How are you doing out there? Listen, welcome to Sunday Sessions. You know, this is our weekly touch point for connection, community, and conversation. So whether you're watching us live, thank you, or you're watching on the global campus or having a local watch party, or you're going to catch the replay, we appreciate you too, okay? And it wouldn't be right if we didn't mention our mission, and that is to simply help you connect better, build better, and live better. And our values are also clear. We are forward thinking, we are people centric, and we are life affirming, okay? Affirm yourself sometimes. That's what you got to do. Our why is the heartbeat of it all, and that is that people matter. Everything we do revolves around that concept that people matter, and we don't all have it together, right? We don't have to be perfect here. We are just intentional about connection and shared responsibility and honest thinking, okay? And I love that about us. Now, if this is your first time with us, listen, we have a first time gift for you. I need you to follow that link, okay, on the screen, or click it from the chat, okay? And that is our small token of hospitality, and it's just giving you a guide of how to navigate connection a little bit better. So we would love for you to go ahead and get that. And if you are a regular, you are a returner, okay, and this is home for you, we appreciate you as well. You keep us going, you keep us moving, you keep us motivated. And I'm so excited for this new series, because our March series, we're going to be talking about the greater gospel. Okay. You remember the good news? We talk about the greater gospel, okay? For a long time, many of us have been given a gospel that's been kind of too small, right? And now we're moving beyond those old frameworks, and we're discovering something more powerful. And so throughout this series, we're going to be exploring how freedom from religious superstition actually gives us a greater gospel, one that is radical but also inclusive and deeply empowering and centered on human flourishing here and now. So we're moving from a message of escape to a message of evolution. How about that? And by the end of the series, the goal is for us to see when you lose the constructs, you don't lose the truth. You finally find freedom in it. Okay. And by the way, if you didn't know, March is Women's History Month and also National Reading Month. I have 4 book recommendations for you for my, these are by U.S. women authors, but of course, those in other countries, please drop your women authors in the chat that you love and your recommendations as well. Listen, I have to mention Maya Angelou, okay? She has 7 autobiographies, but this one is one of my favorites. It's her second one, Gathered Together in My Name. I love this. This is continuing after I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings. If you want to dive a little bit more into her mindset, she is super funny. In her earlier years, this is a good one to follow and read. And none other, this next one, The Three Mothers. And this is how the mothers of Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and James Baldwin shaped a nation. This is so good. This dives more into the mother's life and their journey and how they navigated as they were having children and how they raised them and what happened during that. And this is by Anna Tubb. So go check that out. If you're into historical fiction and you haven't checked out The Personal Librarian, this actually came out last year. This is 2 women. They're co-authors of this book, and they actually write together a lot. And that's Marie Benedict and Victoria Christopher Murray. And this book follows Belle DaCosta and her family. And her name's actually Bella, and how she got the job with JP Morgan Chase. And it's a very interesting journey here and what their family goes through and what she decides to do. And if you don't know about Miss Taylor Jenkins Reid, oh my goodness, she writes some amazing stories. She came out with a book in 2025 called Atmosphere. And this book actually follows women scientists, the first woman scientists who went out to be a part of the NASA space shuttle program in the 1980s. And so, a very great story. And if you don't already, what are you waiting on? Go ahead and follow me on my YouTube channel at DaranteLaMar. I had to plug it in, okay? Give me a time to plug it in. But over there, I do bookish content, motivational videos, personal development, and a little vlogs here and there. So if you like that type of content, go hang out with me over there. All right. But before we get into today's conversation, let's go ahead and check out Bridge City News.
What's up, Bridge City? Happy Sunday, or whatever day it is on your side of the world. My name is Elaine, and I'm here to give you a look at what's happening across our community. There's a lot going on here. We are growing and shifting and unfolding, and I want to make sure that you're in the loop. At Bridge City Global, Women's History Month is a time to honor the brilliance, resilience, and leadership of women whose impact shapes families, workplaces, movements, and communities across the world every single day. From organizing and caregiving to leading change, building businesses, and creating opportunity, women are often a driving force behind strong, thriving communities. This month, we celebrate the power of women and recommit to building communities that reflect their strength, wisdom, and lasting influence. We're under construction. We've officially launched the lobby of our global campus. It's a one-stop shop to move through the campus experience and see how we're growing and expanding as a community. There, you will find our Welcome Center, Event Center, Business Center, and more. Drop by today and check out how our global campus is expanding to accommodate our growth. Want to host a watch party? Have you ever been in the middle of a Sunday session and thought, I wish this was available in my city in person? Well, you could be the person who becomes that spark. Hosting a weekly watch party is the first step to bringing the Bridge City experience to your city. A watch party is a small, in-person gathering, usually 3 or more people, where friends meet at someone's home or venue to watch the community's weekly online session together, creating a shared experience for community, conversation, and growth. It's about building relationships and community around our mission and message, with hosts providing a welcoming space, food, and discussion supported by our community resources. Visit the link to discover everything you need to start, host, and lead a watch party. Every first Sunday of the month is Bridge City Movie Night. And in April, we'll be watching Sinners, a supernatural horror thriller directed by Ryan Coogler, who also directed Marvel's Black Panther movies. Wakanda Forever, yes, hunting! Sinners features Michael B. Jordan in a dual role as 1930s Mississippi twins, Smoke and Stack, who have returned to their hometown to start a life anew. The brothers open a juke joint only to confront a terrifying evil that forces them to defend their community over a single brutal night. Your girl can't handle all that, so LA ain't gonna be sitting this one out, but y'all make sure y'all show up, okay? Connect with like-minded people on a deeper level by joining one of our clubs. This month, we're highlighting the Wellness Club. The Wellness Club is dedicated to fostering self-awareness and emotional well-being through mindful practices. Members will explore tools and practices like breathing exercises, meditation, journaling, and stretching, all aimed at promoting emotional regulation and inner growth. Expect regular posts featuring wellness activities and self-care practices. Join, share, and learn which tools resonate best for you to cultivate a more balanced and resilient mindset. So make sure y'all join us in the Wellness Club. To all of our new members, welcome. We know that joining a new community, especially online, can be overwhelming. That's why we've been intentionally working on building a campus experience that helps orient you and makes it easy to navigate all that Bridge City is and offers. If you haven't already, visit the link today and make the most of your member experience, because at Bridge City, membership matters. Since the start of the year, more than 40 people have made the decision to connect with Bridge City as their community of choice, and we couldn't be more excited. Every new connection is a step closer to a better world. Make sure to explore the campus, complete the new member journey, and introduce yourself so that you can start making an impact. Are you ready to get involved? Visit our Teams page to explore the growing number of opportunities to do the work of community. As we're moving from conceptual to operational, we need volunteers to be the bridge so that people can see the vision. Volunteering isn't just about helping the community look good. It's how we empower the community to actually do good. Every volunteer expands our capacity to support our growing body of members and mobilize around our mission in real time. And it's also the easiest way to build new relationships that make life meaningful. Becoming a volunteer gives you more people to call, more people to laugh with, and more people to face life with. Visit the link on the screen to explore the growing number of opportunities to get involved. And if you don't see anything that piques your interest, reach out to the team. At Bridge City, we understand that a greater gospel requires a greater commitment to one another. Every second Tuesday of the month is Giving Tuesday. Now, you know how we do things over here. We don't ask for tithes, we don't collect dues, and we certainly don't use guilt as a motivator. However, this community is sustained by the regular, intentional contributions of our members. Your radical generosity is what empowers us to show up every Sunday. It's what allows us to provide an expansive global campus experience and to launch the local events that make new, real-world communities possible. Giving Tuesday is our monthly reminder that this vision doesn't build itself. It's built by people. We can't offer you a mansion in the afterlife in exchange for your gift. But what we can offer is continued community, expanding resources, and the collective power to change the world in real time. If you understand our mission is worth building and our vision is worth supporting, mark the second Tuesday of this month on your calendar. Let's choose association over isolation, and let's fund the freedom we're finding together. Generosity is making this possible, and thank you for building with us. That's everything for this week. This is a great opportunity to share the stream before the conversation starts. And if you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you for being the bridge. Let's get into today's conversation. Take it away, Darante.
Oof. As always, thank you, Bridge City team. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, Darnea. Thank you, production team. Thank you, Zernial, for putting this together. Our announcements are one of the favorite parts of one of my favorite parts of what we do here. How are y'all doing today? Happy Sunday. I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. I hope you're having a wonderful life. Listen, if this is your first time here today, we have a gift that we want to put in your hand. You heard Darnea say it at the beginning. We have a gift that we want to put in your hand, and it's just our way of saying thank you for being here. And it's something that we want to give you to help you connect better, to help you orient, whether you're somebody who's living life after deconstruction, or someone who's never been religious, but you're just trying to find a way to do relationships better with people so that we can ultimately build a better world. And as you are coming in, let us know where you're watching from. Where are you watching from? You never know. You might be watching with your neighbor. So let us know where you're watching from, what city, what state, what country, what territory, whatever it is. We have so many wonderful things going on within our community, and we'd love to get you all connected. Come on in the room, Colorado. And we love to get you connected. As a matter of fact, today we have something really exciting happening on the global campus, and that's our music workshop. It's happening today at 4 p.m. Central Time. So I don't know what time that is for you. It's 4 for me, but I'm really excited about this workshop. It's going to be led by Jude, who's often in the chat with us. Memphis, Tennessee is in the building, who's often in the chat with us. And so I think this is going to be phenomenal. It's the music workshop is being sponsored by our music club. And what's amazing about that is this is a member-sponsored event. So these are our members that are getting together to make these things available. And that's what makes the community possible. All right, so I think I've hit everything that I needed to hit. Are y'all ready to jump into this? This is week 3 of the Greater Gospel. How are y'all feeling, man? Are y'all loving this series? Are y'all liking this series? Is it helpful? Is it helping you? Is it helping you redefine belonging in your life, redefine goodness in your life, and redefine connection in your life? After all, our mission is to connect better, build better, so that we can all live better, especially in Dallas, Fort Worth. You hear me? Come on now. So we have one more week in this series, and at least from a main talk perspective, but the last Sunday of the month, which is 5th Sunday, forgive me for church talk, last Sunday of the month, 5th Sunday, we're going to have some special guests joining us to close out this series in a strong way. When I opened up this series, and even last week I mentioned again, I told you that this series didn't necessarily originate with me. It originated with a conversation that I had with a friend of mine whose name is Joe Pittinger. And I got to recap it because it's kind of like the series capstone. Northern Colorado is in. Look at it. There's 2 Colorados. I told you could be watching with your neighbor. But the thesis of this series comes from a conversation I had with Joe. And of course, Joe, like me, is a former pastor who is still a preacher. That's good, right? He's a former Christian pastor who is still a preacher, still a community leader, still a community organizer. Look at that. Do you see that? 3 Colorados in the chat. Look, y'all need to hurry up and get connected to the global campus so we can get y'all talking to each other and connected so we can get a Bridge City out in Colorado. Yes, Bridge City, Colorado has a nice ring to it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And so Joe leads a secular or a values-based, I'll say it that way. Joe leads a value-based community in Canada called West Hill United. And I've had him on the channel before. But Joe said the reason why he still does this is because he realized that we, as people who have deconstructed by not just seeing that the gospel was untrue or that the gospel was broken, but also those of us who saw that the gospel was limited. Again, we didn't leave church just because the gospel was broken. We left church because the gospel was limited. which means it did not allow us to love everybody. It did not orient us to help everybody. And so his response was, what I realized is that we have the greater gospel. And that was kind of like the launching pad for this series. And I said, damn, not only do we have the bigger gospel, in reality, we have the greater gospel. Oh, come on, production team. We have the greater gospel. We have a better message. We have a greater message, and we shouldn't be ashamed of it. Come on, damn it, I'm preaching already. We shouldn't be ashamed of the greater news that we have. The good news is that you could love your neighbor. The greater news is that you could find a way to love everybody. And so on the last Sunday of the month, Southern Oregon is in the house. On the last Sunday of the month, I'm bringing, and let me get this on the screen because I want you to see it, just to know that it's real. I want you to be able to feel it. I want you to understand what I'm talking about. Thank you, production team. I'm going to have Joe joining us for that Sunday. I'm going to have Britt Hartley of No Nonsense Spirituality joining us. And then I'm going to have Kyle Butler, who was a big part of this channel last year. I'm bringing all three of them back for one conversation. And that conversation is, why are we out but still here? Oh, I hope y'all are ready for that. It's going to be one hell of a good time, if I can say so myself. All of us are former Christian ministers who left the faith but kept the mission. And we're going to be having a conversation about why. And I hope y'all are ready for that. All right. So are y'all ready for today's conversation? Let's jump into this. I attended a funeral this weekend, yesterday, and it's actually the first one that I've attended in nearly a decade. The last funeral I attended was one I presided over for a member of my former church, for which I respectfully delivered the eulogy as an atheist. The one I attended last weekend was different for a few reasons. Number one, it was my first time attending a funeral this close to my 40s. And that was heavy. Sitting in a funeral this close to my 40s. And I mean, I'm real close. Like I'm real close. Sitting in a funeral this close to my 40s was real heavy because, like, for the first time in a funeral, I was really sitting with the weight of, ooh, this could be my funeral, you know? So that was heavy for me. But number two, it was the funeral of the father of my youngest son's girlfriend, a man who made the decision to take his life. As someone who has struggled with depression and loneliness for the majority of my life, that hit different, you know? But then even number three, while sitting there, I realized that yesterday was my first time attending a non-African American funeral. It was my first time. That realization kind of caught me off guard, you know. How have I lived 39 years of my life and never attended the funeral of a white person or a Hispanic person or an Asian person or anyone else otherwise culturally different from myself? So yesterday I had an opportunity to learn quite a bit. One of those things that I learned yesterday is that CP time is a misnomer. Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that I learned. Color people time. If y'all have ever heard it, you know, if you've not heard it, good for you. But yesterday I realized that no, CP time is a misnomer because apparently white people can be just as time challenged as the rest of us. Okay, the funeral started at 10, but it didn't really start until a little bit after 11. But perhaps the most interesting thing that stood out to me was what was missing. When we first got there, because of course it started an hour later than the time we were expecting it to start. I had plenty of time, you know, just kind of look around and observe the environment and read the obituary. And as I read through the obituary, there was not one reference to religion, God, or an afterlife. And then that was severely odd to me because every obituary I've ever read of sinners and saints alike, welcome in South Africa, of sinners and saints alike were loaded with religious language. Like every obituary I've read since I was a child, and I've been to a lot of funerals, but it was always, such and such was born in the year of our Lord. They were baptized at the tender age of such and such. Their favorite Bible verse was this. They rededicated their lives to the Lord at whatever church, and they'll be joining their parents or the brothers and the sisters in heaven. I'm used to obituaries being filled with that type of language. And what I realized, the Black church has done a really good job of reducing lived experience to religious propaganda. Where the only thing that matters about a person's life is how you can frame it to fit doctrinal approval, which is why there's a tendency to generationally pass down false wisdom instead of learned lessons, because learned lessons requires a perspective on my lived experience, not just reframing my narrative to fit the doctrine. When we reframe the narrative just to fit the doctrine, we don't learn from the lived experience. So we end up passing down false wisdom, old wives' tale, folk wisdom. We pass down wisdom. We pass down cliche. We pass down anecdotes because everybody's afraid to talk about the lived experience, because the lived experience does not line up with the doctrinal narrative. But it's the lived experience where we get the learned lessons. We don't learn the lessons unless we pay attention to the experience. Reading that obituary yesterday, I learned a lot about that man's life, because there was no need to reframe it with the religious narrative. Once you take the religious language out, once you remove the need to try to make it fit into what is going to make him seem like he's getting into heaven. Once you remove that need, you now have the room to talk about real life and not just the afterlife. And his life, this is what was amazing to me. Every mistake is a lesson. Absolutely. His life wasn't defined by who he was to one. And I'm going somewhere with this. It was defined by who he was to many. His goodness was not measured by his identity, but by his impact, not by how he left, but by how he lived. And so, yes, while it was a celebration of his life, that celebration was in consideration of the many lives who remain to live on, because life is not an island. I heard one person say it this way: there is only one life, and we are all sharing it. In that context, celebration of life always has to be in consideration of the living, those who are currently alive. And this, my friends, represents perhaps one of the most critical flaws of the gospel as we've known it, is that it has replaced the celebration of the living with an obligation to the dead. I'm going to run that back because I want to make sure you catch that jalapeno. It has replaced the celebration of the living with an obligation to the dead. The gospel of Christianity, ironically, has us searching for life in graves. We are looking for the living among the dead. When you're looking to prophecy, scripture, the good old days, and even the Constitution for insight as to how to treat each other, you're expecting dead men's bones to be more informative than living people's breath. Okay. And that's the problem with any ideology that focuses on the one, whether past, present, or future. The moment we allow ourselves to be convinced that only one person has the answer, we absolve ourselves of the responsibility to be one of the many that are actually needed to make the difference. For those of us who are former Christians, we were taught that through one man sin entered the world, and through one man the world would be saved. And ever since, we've been searching for the one, we've been neglecting the many. We've been caught in a cycle of scapegoats and saviors, looking for someone to blame and someone to bow to. And both manifestations are an avoidance of responsibility and accountability. We want someone to blame so we don't have to do the hard work of growing, and we want someone to bow to, so we don't have to do the hard work of knowing. I am preaching better than y'all are responding. Jalapeno. Having a scapegoat and a savior at the same time is how you become a pawn in your own life, being played by your own imagination. Ooh, this is good. It absolves you of the responsibility to see the world clearly and respond appropriately. So I'm here this weekend to reverse the curse, so to speak, and speak the truth. Contrary to what you've heard, the problems of humanity cannot be laid at the feet of one person, nor can they be taken up by one person. This, my friends, is delusion. The greater gospel is the rational realization that it was many people who caused our problems, so it's going to take many people to solve our problems. There is no Adam or Eve to blame, nor is there any Jesus or Muhammad to save. We did this to ourselves, and we're going to have to continue doing this together, not as the one, but as the many, and dare I say it, the all. And so today's conversation is going to be called Death of the One. Today, we're talking about the death of the one. Most funeral homes, this is what I found out this week, because it wasn't just that I realized that the obituary was lacking religious language. I looked around and I was like, oh, there's not a cross in here. There's not a picture of Jesus in here. There's no biblical characters in here. I don't see Bible scriptures on the wall. And when I realized, like, most funeral homes are not inherently Christian. Did you know that? But are instead generally non-denominational or flat out secular businesses designed to serve diverse clientele, including religious, non-religious, and various cultural groups. Now, while many focus on serving the Christian community, others are specifically affiliated with other faiths like Catholic or Jewish or other non-religious secular services. And that makes sense to me now as I reflect back over all of the funerals that I've attended. In hindsight, I now realize that the funerals are always an interesting lesson in humanity. Okay. Outside of extreme cases, grudges, squabbles, and differences tend to become meaningless at the sound of a eulogy. Like I've seen this in real time. I've seen people who, one married to a man, the other sleeping with the man, and both of them are at his funeral. And for whatever reason, come on, welcome in the room, Canada. And for whatever reason, even though prior to the funeral, these are people who are at each other's throat, it's something about having to sit with close and personal death that humanizes our worldview, even if temporarily, in a way that I've rarely seen anything else do. Like, we take death seriously. As a species, we take death seriously. So seriously, and I'm going somewhere with this, so seriously that World War I and World War II are responsible for the non-denominational shift in military chaplaincy, which paved the way for a stronger humanist presence in traditionally religious roles. It was a recognition that if someone is dying in a war on my behalf, they deserve to die with dignity and honor, regardless of our theological differences. That's how seriously we take death. Yes, you made it on time this morning. That's how seriously we take death. Now watch this. I can recall a time, and I'm telling y'all, I'm going somewhere with this. So just stick with me for a minute. This is about to get what I call slippery. Okay, I can recall a story about Dr. John G. Jackson, and that may be a new name for you. I meant to have his photo up, but that may be a new name for you, Dr. John G. Jackson. He was a lifelong atheist who just so happened to be African American, and he also lectured at the Robert G. Ingersoll Forum of the American Association of the Advancement of Atheism. Go look that up. That organization no longer exists, but it's the American Association for the Advancement of Atheism. Go check it out. All right, so he was a lecturer. He was also a Black nationalist and a Pan-Africanist. Okay, so he was once asked at a panel something to the effect of, what has to happen for Black people and Black experiences to no longer be treated as less than by white culture and white authority. Now, it was a panel, and Dr. Jackson was the last of 4 to respond, and all of the gentlemen were in their sundowning phases, if I can say it politely. They're in the older ages. But his response stood out to me starkly in my mind because it was clear, concise, and abrupt. It was almost like a Jaws moment. You remember when a dude, scratches the board and starts saying some stuff that I don't remember what he was saying because he had a really, really thick accent. But it was like one of those moments where a dude just said something and everybody's like, ooh. Because his response to the question of how do Black people get to the place where they're no longer looked down on by white culture and by white authority, and his response was, and I quote, you got to be able to kill him. Thank you, production. Thank you, Z. He said you got to be able to kill him. Okay, now listen, y'all don't leave. Don't leave yet. Don't leave. Trust me, this story is going somewhere. Now, please understand that these were Black nationalist and Pan-African circles, and in the aftermath of the onslaught of the 60s, who were still very much living with the possibility of guerrilla warfare as a viable option to gaining self-governance. And that's a conversation that is often and uniquely left out of the public discourse as it pertains to African Americans, but I digress. It wasn't just what he said, okay? It wasn't just what he said, though that was enough to shake the room. It was how he followed it up. And I want to share a small clip. Yeah, I want to share a small clip this weekend of how he followed it up. I want to share that with you. So right after that, and let me get this thing queued up. Right after that, right after he said that, he said this.
Pistol loaded in his pocket. And one day, an obstreperous white man insulted him, and he pulled his pistol out and aimed it in his head and said, "Take one more step and I'll blow your brains out." And he didn't have any trouble with white folks after that.
All right. So now you've heard the context. And just notice, he's such a great orator. Notice how he just sat back in his chair after that. And he ain't never had no problem with white folk after that. All right. So he gave the context. It wasn't just saying, no, you got to kill him. He says, no, you got to be able to kill him. Why? Because we take death seriously. Now, for those of you who've never been introduced to the response of Black intelligence in the face of nationalist aggression, you're welcome. Now, I did not share that clip. Or bring up this story to promote Dr. John G. Jackson's solution. I did it to drive the point home that we take death seriously. In the South, we call the sound that the shotgun makes when you're loading it, we call that sound a mind changer. But it's either going to change your mind about what you're about to do, or it's going to change your life. Okay. What's the old saying? Everything's fun until the rabbit gets the gun, right? And so the point that Dr. Jackson was abrasively making is that death is an equalizer. It's the reason that small nations go to war against larger nations. It was likely sitting in the discomfort of death with a conscious mind that drove us as a species to start assigning various meaning to life because we take death seriously. Life is an opportunity to see it all, and death, since the evolution of our consciousness and up till now, still is the end of that opportunity. And what's often left is a reminder of how much we haven't seen, how much we haven't learned, experienced, or explored, because there is so much to do and life is such a finite experience. This is why we take death seriously. At the time the Homo genius is demonstrably manifesting conscious thought, the human lifespan is less than 30 years. Okay, so less than imagine having to wrestle with death and consciousness, and you only got 30 years to do it. Welcome in, Mississippi. Imagine with wrestling with that. Okay. Now we've tripled that lifespan and are still progressing, and it's still nowhere near enough time to explore all that we're born into. That seems to be the real curse of life, if I can use that terminology right now, if I could use that vocabulary. The real curse of life seems to be that you're born into an experience that you can never fully experience. And so this is why we take death seriously, is because the little bit of time that I got here, I want to be able to see and do as much as I can. All right, now enter religion, humanity's way of providing a hermeneutic for the things it did not have the luxury of time to experience. Welcome in, Mobile, Alabama. I think we underestimate the relationship between time, death, and life. I think we underestimate the relationship between time, death, and life. Because while we were demonstrably consciously aware 50 to 80,000 years ago, it was closer to 30,000 years ago when we became philosophically aware. Okay. Y'all follow me for a little bit. While we became consciously aware roughly 50 to 80,000 years ago, it took us another 20 to 40,000 years to become philosophically aware. Now, you've probably never sat with that difference before, but don't worry about it. I'm here to provide you with that nuance. Jalapeno. Okay, you ready? Consciously aware refers to the immediate subjective experience of being awake and alert, perceiving sound or thoughts like feeling pain or seeing color. Okay. Conversely, I like that roll call. Conversely, being philosophically aware implies reflecting on the nature, meaning, and deeper implications of existence, such as examining why we exist or evaluating the validity of our perceptions. Okay, Indiana in the house. Did you hear that? Oh goodness, this is grace. If religion can be seen as an early container for our primordial philosophies, then we can trace its origin to the context of 30,000 years ago. It's the difference between consciousness and philosophy. All right. Consciousness is knowing that something is happening and that you're an active agent in it. That's consciousness, knowing that something is happening and that you are an active agent in it. But philosophy is actually having the time to think about it. Y'all sit with that for a moment. SoCal in the house, Hammond in the house. Come on, let's go. Let's go. We in here. It's the difference between consciousness and philosophy. Consciousness is knowing that something is happening and that you're an active agent in it. Come on now. But philosophy is having the time to think about it. We don't get to philosophy until we give ourselves the gift of time. And when the average human lifespan was less than 30 years, people were born, they had children, and then they died. But when we improve that just by a decade, just by 10 years, shifting the average time span from 30 to the average of 40, the DMV is in the house, Richmond, Virginia, shifting from 30 to 40 years, it changed the structure of our humanity. Now people were born, they had children, their children grew up and had children, and then a few years later they died. This shift represents the emergence of human wisdom. This shift represents the emergence of human wisdom, having the time. Damn, this is good. Not just to be conscious and to be active, but now having the time to reflect on my lived experience and my lessons learned. Damn, this is good. This would be later manifested in chiefdoms and elder systems. Starts with grandparents. This is literally called the grandparent effect, okay? For the first time since coming into awareness of ourselves, there was a generation who had a small retirement window to reflect on their experiences and share their lessons with the youngest generation while also relieving the current generation of parental distraction. Because I'm okay when it's just me running from the cheetah, but when I have to run from the cheetah with you, okay, that increases the likelihood that neither one of us is going to see 30. All right. So now we have someone who can stay at home. All right. See, y'all ain't ready for this. Women were not the first people to have to stay at home. Grandparents were. Women had to start staying at home when we start disconnecting from grandparents. Damn it. I love sociology. Okay, let's go. Let's get in this. Let's get in this. Okay. So now I can go out there and handle cheetah and be nimble without having to be fearing to protect my child, right? But watch this. When the shift was just 30 years ago, it was me and my child dealing with cheetah together. And then if I died, that increased the likelihood that they were gonna die. Okay. But now, just because we gave ourselves a decade, just 10 more years, now somebody who was out here running with cheetah with us, somebody who was out here fighting the cheetah with us has now retired. We gave ourselves retirement by giving ourselves time, has now retired from their cheetah days and has the time to reflect. And not only has the time to reflect, but has the time to share what they learned from their reflections. Okay. This was a sociological evolutionary leap of exponential magnitudes, and it is called the grandparent effect. Now, I say all of this to say that religion and ultimately the Gospels is a reflection of our struggle to pull as much meaning as possible from a finite lived experience. We're only going to be here for a little bit of time, so we've got to maximize the time that we're here. We're only going to be here for a little bit. So we've got to maximize the time. So grandparent, you're getting elderly. You don't need to be fighting with cheetah. That's not the best use of your time. The best use of your time is sharing what you've learned. And because I'm still fighting with cheetah, I can't hear what you've learned. Whoo. And this represents, I think we just slipped up on one of the biggest issues with generational disconnection to this day, because the grandparent generation is trying to pass wisdom on to the parent generation. And that's really not the best optimization of time. The grandparent generation needs to pass information to the grandchildren generation so that the parent can be active and will have something to pass down to their grandchildren. Damn, this is good, y'all. That ain't in my notes, but that's so good. All right, so this is why I remind people that religion is ultimately just ancestor worship, okay? Religion didn't start with bishops trying to build a congregation. It started with grandparents trying to synthesize information with a limited understanding, okay? Oh, this is good. This is good. Ooh, no, religion didn't start with bishops. It started with Big Ma. Okay? It was grandparents trying to synthesize information with a limited understanding. Before religion became authoritative, it was likely the greatest instrument of human curiosity, history, and education for our early ancestors. At one point, it gave us libraries that started with the reflections of grandparents remembered by their descendants and evolved into entire histories and collective imaginations preserved by tribal elders, communal scribes, and regional authorities. I'd argue that at this time in our social evolution that we were more aware of our limited understanding as it was more obvious. We did not yet have the burden of certainty because we were clear that we was trying to figure it out. And that's why we were willing to listen to the generations that came before. We weren't pulling certainty from what they were sharing. We were pulling clarity. Damn it, this is good. Okay. Preserved history was respected, but not authoritative. It still had to be tested. It could still be revised, updated, and reinterpreted against the backdrop of lived experience. It was reiterated upon with each generation, but once it became authoritative, the old gospel, it locked all truth into the manifestation of one interpretation. And the real problem with one interpretation is that you inevitably resign yourself to having to appoint one person to be the interpreter, which brings me to the first big point of this weekend. And I hope y'all are ready. No one man should have all that pressure. Yeesh. Oh, that felt good, man. No, that felt good. If we if we were a local campus, if we were at a local campus right now and we had the full Bridge City experience, we would have absolutely had a copyright safe clip of Kanye's "No One Man Should Have All That Power" played by the band, followed by a 90-second skit by our arts team to really drive the point home. No, we'd be going full. No one man should have all that pressure. No one man should have all that pressure. That's why today's conversation is the death of the one. No one person should have all that pressure. Within the architecture of the Christian gospel, there is an innocuous scriptural exchange that impacts the way believers and non-believers, shaped by a society that believes, approach social change. All right, let's take a look at it. I hate to bore you with the Bible, but if I'm going to talk about it, in order not to be accused of twisting it, I need to show you what I'm talking about. So let's look at Matthew chapter 11. It said, when Jesus had finished giving instructions to his disciples, he went on from there to teach and preach in their cities. Now, while in prison, John heard about the works of Christ, and he sent word by his disciples and said to him, watch this, are you the coming one, or are we to look for someone else? Are you the coming one, or are we to look for someone else? Are you the one that's going to solve all of this? Or is it going to be somebody else? Are you the one that we can hold responsible for whatever happens next? Or should we look for someone else? No one person should have all that pressure. The subtle but significant insinuation here is, as aforementioned, the abdication of responsibility in exchange for a scapegoat and a savior, someone to blame and someone to bow to. The implication is clearly that there is a one that we should be looking for, while concluding that the many are hopelessly, effectively useless. I think this narrative has shaped and marred the way we view each other. And so now everybody's trying to be the one. Everybody's either trying to be the one or looking for the one. And so life is now revolved in language like the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Or watch this, I'm him. Oh no, I'm him. I'm him. But in all actuality, we is we them. Y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready. Get in here. Get in here. No, y'all ain't ready. No, it's we're looking for the one. The narrative is essentially reinforcing a worldview where human responsibility remains in the mantle of one person. In a Christian worldview, the one is Jesus, but he's not here. In an Islamic worldview, the one is Muhammad, but he not here either. But in a context where the one ideology is promoted as reasonable, in the absence of the one, a representative will always be appointed. In Catholicism, it's called a vicar, which literally means representative. In varying arms of Protestantism, it's called a prophet. But at the end of the day, it's the idea that one person, one group, or one interpretation holds all of the truth of humanity as it has been authoritatively prescribed and predestined. Chronos, if you don't get out of my notes, Chronos, no, that's good. No, you're right on. You're right on. Because we've been predisposed to believe that one person caused it, we've also accepted the pre-baked conclusion that one person can solve it. So leaders become someone to follow, not something to become. I'm going to say that one more time. So a leader becomes someone to follow, not something to become. And the reality is, we don't need more people to follow. We need more people being leaders of themselves. Y'all don't want to talk to me. I think the biggest problem with humanity is that we have deluded ourselves into thinking that it is possible for one person to have a good enough view to determine all of our answers, while simultaneously devaluing our unique capacity to experience multiple views in real time through other people. The one person paradigm creates pressure that breeds disappointment. I got to say it again. The one person paradigm creates pressure that breeds disappointment. I'm going to run it back one more time. The one person paradigm creates pressure that breeds Disappointment. That's why if you pay attention, you will realize that religion has mastered the art of managing disappointment because disappointment is the child of false expectations. As long as our expectations are not based in reality, disappointment is always going to be the result. And so religion has evolved to become managers of disappointment because religion is, as it exists today, is false expectation. But disappointment is the child of false expectation. I don't judge someone's ability to be a leader by how many people follows them. I judge by how many people become leaders because of them. Y'all don't want to talk to me. Disappointment is the child of false expectations. You know? Oh no, we're gonna go here. Disappointment is a child of false expectation. Let's go to the movies real quick. You were the chosen one. It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them. No one man should have all that pressure. You're supposed to bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness. No, let's go to the movies. No one person should have all that pressure. And again, if this was a local campus, the arts team would be literally acting this scene out with a metal orchestra background and fire on the stage and everything. For those of you who don't know, this is the exchange between Anakin and old boy whose name I can't remember right now, but Obi-Wan. Yeah, Obi-Wan and Anakin. No, you were supposed to be the chosen one. Can I tell you that maybe we're creating villains trying to turn people into heroes? Woo! Because no one person should have all that pressure. We're creating our villains, man. There we go. Old boy be one. I love that. I almost thought it said old bay be one, and now I want to see like old baby one. Like I want to see that now. I want to see. Okay, anyway. All right, so the myth of the superhero is a byproduct of the former gospel. The so-called good news. We are addicted to the superhero narrative in movies for the same reason we are addicted to the savior narrative in church. It allows us to stay in the audience. The greater gospel is essentially telling the audience to get out of their seats and realize that they're the cast. In the greater gospel, we're not looking for a lead actor, okay? We want a supportive cast. Come on now. Yes. Oh, it would rock. Okay. We don't want a lead actor. We're not looking for the next lead actor. We're all working on becoming the supportive cast. The audience waits for a miracle. The cast rehearses the solution. The audience judges the performance. The cast improves the work. The big point is no one person should have all that pressure. And listen to me, lean in real close. I can see you. Lean in. I'll turn into a black mother on you. You better lean your ass in now. No, lean in. I'm just playing. Okay, I'm done trying to be the one. Being the one is not a power position. Here's a hard truth. Swallow it if you can. Spit it out if you can't. Roughly 90% of business owners in poverty own 100% of their businesses. Yeah. Not all, but roughly 90% of business owners in poverty own 100% of their businesses. Roughly 90% of business owners in what we'll call abundance own less than 10% of their businesses. There is roughly a 10% chance of a business owner owning 100% of the responsibility and building a successful business. And so the big point is no one person should have all that pressure. The pressure to have it all figured out and under control has resulted in an increase of pretending and performance that has not produced progress. Even while being surrounded by capable others, we are increasingly locking ourselves into silos that prevent us from sharing the burden of evolutionary exchange. Listen, we're trying to be and I need y'all to catch this. We're trying to be successful separately and then reconvene after we've achieved, instead of working together to increase our chances of success, because we brought into the illusion of the one. All right. So let me finish this scripture up, because listen, I got to bring it. Jesus answered and said to them, this is Matthew 11, for those of you that are with us. Are you with us? Are you with me? Okay, come on. Is anybody out there? That's like hole in the wall music. You ain't ready for that. All right, so watch this. It says, Jesus answered and said to them, go and report to John what you hear and see. Those who were blind receive sight. It just feels, back in the day, the preachers, it felt good to preach stuff like, the blind has received their sight, the limp walk, those with leprosy are cleansed, and those who are deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the poor have the gospel preached to them. And blessed is any person who does not take offense at me. The implication is, and I'm sharing this not just because it impacts believers, but this type of ideology impacts anyone who has grown up in a society that has been shaped by believers. Okay? So the implication is, because of me, good things are happening. Jalapeno, habanero. That's the trap. Human flourishing cannot be reduced to the actions of the one, because it absolutely requires the collaboration of the many. Once you believe that one person has a good enough view and a good enough capacity to solve everything for everybody, you have bought into a lie. Shifting the burden of responsibility from the one to the many is our responsibility. Even when we leave religion, we still hold the tendency of scapegoating the one for the behavior of the many. It's not one problem, it's many problems. It's not one person's responsibility, it's the responsibility of the many. The world moves at the speed of the many. Yes, this is good. Oh yeah, I definitely am a self-identified anarchist. Yeah, where the gospel offered deliverance through substitution, the greater gospel promises development through participation. Okay, the old gospel was deliverance through substitution. Someone else is going to pay your price, or someone else is going to win your prize. You don't have to. You're delivered because you're covered by the work of somebody else. But the greater gospel is, we are developed through participation. We develop the things we want to see in this world by participating together. That's right, Dark Light. Better chance to catch the leopard if we all hunt it together. All right, this brings me to my next big point of the weekend. Many can do what the one could never. And this is really the reality for me. Like, it's this like what I love about the greater gospel, copyright, trademark. What I love about the greater gospel is that it is logic based. All right. So watch this. Listen, and hear me well. This ain't me just being nice. This ain't me just saying this because it's the nice thing to do. This is not me trying to signal righteousness. This is not me. This is not a we are the world moment. This is a we are the world movement, but this is not a we are the world moment. I'm not just saying this because it's the right thing to do. I'm saying this because it's good math. Oh, no. So that's what I gave myself permission to do. I gave myself permission after I deconstructed to be able to look at a situation and say, hey, what is the math of this though? Is this bad math or is this good math? And depending on one person to solve it for everybody, man, that's bad math. Depending on one person to be able to do what everybody can do, man, that's bad math. Many can do what the one could never do. Why would I expect one person to do it when many people can do it? Okay, let me give you a little power move before I get back to my notes. Let me give you a little power move. I'm gonna tell you how to hack capitalism. All right, I'm gonna teach you how to hack it. I mean, you have to be the communist in the capitalist system. Okay, that's what you got to do. So when you go buy a car, don't buy a car by yourself. Oh yeah, I'm about to put you on game. About to put you on game. This is a mastermind circle moment. Don't go buy the car by yourself. You wait to buy a car till 9 of your friends also are ready to buy a car. And then all 10 of y'all go to the same dealership together, fully prepared to buy 10 cars. What you just did was you just exponentially increased your purchasing power by operating as a communist collective within a capitalist system. You're welcome. All right. The old gospel told us that the one was the only bridge to the many. It taught us that you couldn't get to the Father except through the Son, and you couldn't get to the truth except through the prophet. It created a bottleneck of divinity. But in the greater gospel, the bridge to better isn't a person, it's collective participation. The greater view is shifting from salvation. Thank you, man. Is shifting from salvation to actualization. Salvation is what you preach to people when you want them to wait on a rescue. Actualization is what you teach people when you want them to become responsible for reality. Salvation says the answer is outside of you, above you, beyond you, and will arrive when the right one shows up. Actualization says the answer emerges through you, among you, between you, as people become more honest, more capable, more connected, and more willing to participate in the work of life together. And if you missed this last week, life is work. That little dash between the day you were born and the day you died, that's work. That is your shift. Okay. When you were born, when the doctor hits you on your bottom to see if you breathe, they are checking to see if you work. Oh, y'all ain't ready. Y'all are not ready for this. Okay. Salvation is a rescue mission for a victim. Actualization is an empowerment mission for a participant. When we wait for the one to save the neighborhood stays broken. When we wait for the one to save the neighborhood, the right politician, the good police officers, when we wait for the one to save the neighborhood stays broken. When the many actualize, when the barber, the teacher, the techie, and the parent all decide to own 1% of the solution, the rescue mission becomes unnecessary because the community is no longer a victim. The old framework trained us to admire transformation from a distance. It taught us to sing about change, pray about change, prophesy about change, and wait for change. But actualization is change embodied. It is what happens when people stop romanticizing potential and start organizing practice. It is the movement from dependence to development, from worship to work, from fantasy to formation. And let me be clear. Actualization is not just personal growth language dressed up for a stage. It is a social philosophy. None of us become our best selves in isolation. Human beings are socially formed creatures. We are shaped by our relationships. We are refined by our communities. We are corrected through feedback and strengthened through shared responsibility and expanded by meaningful participation. So when I say actualization, I don't mean just self-help. I mean collective human emergence. I mean the many becoming more wise, more whole, more skilled, and more courageous together. Because the truth is, the future does not belong to the most anointed. It belongs to the most developed, the most cooperative, the most adaptive, the most honest about what reality requires, the people who can learn and unlearn, build and rebuild, and keep showing up for one another. Many can do what the one could never, because the one, no matter how gifted, cannot see from every angle, carry every burden, solve every problem, or embody every experience. This is why sometimes I have to kind of poke people in their criticism, because sometimes what you're expecting from me is to be the one. You're expecting me to be everything to everybody, because we're still operating from that old gospel framework. I can't embody every experience. I cannot embody every culture. I cannot embody every expression. I can embody the ones that speak to me, that resonate with me. And when you're doing it, you can embody the ones that speak to you and that resonate with you. Do you see how that works? And that's what allows all of us to get a better view. The one can't do that, but the many can distribute wisdom. The many can distribute labor. The many can distribute care. The many can distribute leadership. And that is how actual change becomes possible. Actualization is an emergent result of the collective claiming its agency. See, we've been sold the lie that history is moved by singular great men, the great man mythos. But even the ones we celebrate were only as effective as the many who organized the buses, typed the speeches, and funded the movement. Bridge City is a rejection of the great man theory. We are replacing the pedestal with a platform. Oh, come on now. Oh, that's good. That's good. I like that. Let's be teachers, not the one, because the teacher's goal is to bring in more teachers and more learners. See, Bridge City isn't going to change the world because I, the one, is so great. No, that's superstition. If I can say it kindly, that's bullshit. No, it's not going. Bridge City is not going to change the world because Darante is a great man. Bridge City is going to change the world because we, the many, will choose to actualize into our best selves so that we can do our best work. Bridge City is building the next generation infrastructure for belonging in a post-religious world. We are literally rebuilding the social infrastructure of belonging and proving that the future of community will not be built on the certainty of the one, but it will be built on the participation of the many. That's what we have to get back. The truth of the matter is, we've gotten into the place that superstition has interwoven itself with our lives so much that we don't just treat God and religion like this. We treat government and politics like this. No, if we just get the right person in the right position, then everything will be okay. No, that's the old gospel, that somebody is coming to save you. The greater gospel is that we have to save ourselves. We have to do the work together, and we cannot outsource our responsibility. That's why we don't want a few Bridge City campuses. We want many Bridge City campuses all across the globe. And yes, right now, yeah, I'll be honest, I hold the spotlight. If you've ever seen the movie Split, I'm in the light now. I got the light. Yes, I'm in the spotlight. I'll admit it. It's true. It's true. I'm in the spotlight. I have the light right now. All eyes on me, right? I'm lit up. I'm in the spotlight. Yes, right now I hold the spotlight, but please understand that's only because I'm first. That's it. And so the first few campuses will be built as what I like to call satellite campuses, which means those campuses will revolve around the main campus, the global campus, in operations. But as we grow and start training and licensing leaders in people-centric hermeneutics and community development, I see the rise of sun campuses, SUN, satellites and suns. You get what I'm talking about. Satellites and suns, you get it. I ain't got to explain it, do I? Satellites and suns. You get it. Okay, you got it. All right. So I see the rise of those sun campuses that have strong enough leadership to develop their own system of satellites. And then that's how we begin to learn from each other. That's how we evolve into an ecosystem. That's how we protect ourselves from becoming an echo chamber and make sure that we become an ecosystem. The big point is that Bridge City is not about the one. It's not about the one. We're about the many. One global community expressed through many local campuses. The goal is not to be the catapult for one person, but to be the catalyst for a new generation of people-centric leaders who will build bridges to better. And see, there's a biological reality here. A single neuron cannot think. A single neuron cannot think. But 100 billion neurons together create consciousness. Okay? The one is just a neuron. Bridge City is the neural network. We aren't looking for a leader to tell us where to go. We're looking for the collective intelligence of the many to show us where we already are and what we can actually do. Man, I hope this is good. Oh, I hope this is good. Actualization is not a gift given by a savior or a prophet or some divine leader. It is an emergent property of a community that refuses to outsource its agency. And that brings me to my final point of this weekend. Dang, I can't believe I got through this so fast because these are a lot of notes. These are like 12 pages today. But we are doing this together. And I want you to breathe in that. If you're out there, if you're a person who doesn't mind participating, I want you to say that to yourself and breathe in that. No, we are doing this together. If you're a real G, go ahead and type that in the chat. We are doing this together. Listen, it's not just that we cause this together or that we can fix this together. Today's conversation is a sober reminder that we are doing this together. Whatever you see is a manifestation of what we are all doing. It's what we are all tolerating. It's what we are all neglecting and what we are all accepting. Humanity is not a final product. It's a work in progress. The former gospel was do what you're told because someone else knows what's best. The greater gospel is do what works in the context of decreasing harm and increasing well-being. The former gospel has no legible metric for what is right, only what is written. And that's how people get more focused on signaling righteousness instead of measuring results. We tend to judge religion by perceived worthiness instead of demonstrated workability. When you're too busy looking for the man in the sky, you stop paying attention to the people in front of you. You start believing that when we're blessed, God did it, and when we're broken, Satan did it. But the greater gospel challenges us to pay attention and embrace that whatever happens, we're doing this together. Our lived experience is impacted by how we live it together. See, the former gospel is a message of what is being done to you and what is being done for you. It's what's being done to you and what's being done for you. The greater gospel is a reminder that you are a part of the doing. I have to drive this home, okay? The former gospel. See, this whole time, y'all thought that the former gospel was just me talking about Christianity. And I'm not talking about an infection in religion. I'm talking about an infection in culture. That this has seeped in the way we do life, even when we don't believe. That even when we don't believe, we still live in that framework of the former gospel, that something is being done to me, and I'm expecting something to be done for me. I once worked for a very large church in Birmingham. I was Alabama. I was responsible for filling in for the lead pastor, building the new members program, managing the volunteers, leadership development, and change management. I was promised a livable salary, housing, and a vehicle. My wife and my children are witnesses that I was not provided that. I was not provided what I was offered, even though I showed up and I did the work. I actually worked for them, and for more than a month without receiving anything, while paying for a rental vehicle, because we moved in from another state. We moved from I think we were living in Maryland. We moved from Maryland at the time to back to Alabama. For me, it was my wife's first time coming to Alabama. We moved there, and we moved on a rental vehicle because we didn't need a car in Maryland. We had good infrastructure, buses, Ubers, Zipcar. Damn, I miss Zipcar. Okay, so we had good infrastructure, so we didn't need a vehicle. So we had to rent a vehicle while we were down here, while we were waiting for them to provide us a vehicle in exchange for my services, which were many. I worked Monday through Sunday. And it wasn't no 8-hour shifts. I'd go in around 5 o'clock in the morning and would not get back home until about 2 o'clock in the morning, and then had to go to sleep for 3 hours and wake up and do it again. And I did that for a whole month without any remuneration. Okay. So I worked in hostile conditions for nearly 3 months, with the pastor often bragging about changing his mind as regards to the offer, and bragging about my family sleeping on a floor in an apartment to test my faith. The idea was that on the other side of this treatment was everything promised and more. That if you endure like a good and faithful soldier, that on the other side of that, I'm going to open up a window of blessing for you that you won't have room enough to receive. You see, the pastor knew Fort Washington in the house. Oh yeah, man, DMV, y'all ain't ready. The pastor knew that I had privately departed from the faith, and he wanted to use this opportunity to humble me back into the fold. It was an absolutely horrific experience for me, and I haven't even shared the details. Like, y'all, if you only knew the whole story. I was really starting to hate this man, and for a long time, he had been my mentor. And then one day at home on my lunch break, I had an epiphany. I realized that I was still living in the old framework of the old gospel. Oh, he definitely was an ass. He was definitely an ass. Still is. I was living in the framework of the old gospel. Watch this. Someone is doing something to me, and I'm waiting for them to do something for me. That gospel, so-called good news, reduces me to a non-playable character in my own life. See, the greater gospel was a shift in my perspective, my productivity, and my part. And that was, watch this, he's not doing this to me. We're doing this together. Catch this, catch this, catch this. He's not doing this to me. We're doing this together. This takes a lot of emotional maturity to be able to walk, to be able to have a conversation with yourself like that. I was sitting on my lunch break at home and I realized, he's not doing this to me. We're doing this together. The question of what are you doing is also a question of what are you tolerating, thank you, accepting, and neglecting. The question of what are you doing is also a question of what are you tolerating and accepting and neglecting. So yes, he is doing some things to me, but I am tolerating those things and I am accepting those things. So it is not just that he is doing it to me. It is also that I'm letting him do it. It is also that we are doing these things together. Man, I hope y'all can handle this. I was doing what I was doing was tolerating bullshit for a promise. What I was doing was neglecting myself to be accepted. What I was doing was accepting less than because I didn't want to act like I was greater than. Listen, it may have been his fault, and it was his fault. It may have been the church's fault, and it was their fault, but it was my responsibility. And finding fault doesn't change the situation, but recognizing responsibility is a superpower. Because once I realized that he wasn't doing it to me, but that we were doing it together, that's when I realized that I had the power to stop it. So I resigned and I never looked back. But I had to figure it out, but it was worth it. And watch this, because of that, I don't have to hate him. Hate does me no good. I don't have to hate him. I got out of his space. I realized like, oh, you are a jackass. And I don't like jackasses. But the only reason I'm feeling this jackassery is because I am too close to you. You are like the prickly bush. You have a right to exist just like anything else. But now that I know that you like to poke people, I'm going to stay the fuck away from you. Damn, did I just demonetize myself? It is what it is. It's good. It's good. All right. So now I don't have to hate him. I've hugged his neck. I've shook his hands. He's gained weight. I've lost weight. Because now that I realize we're doing this together, I don't need anybody to lose for me to win. That's the old gospel. I don't need anybody to be the villain for me to be the hero. That's the old gospel. The old gospel requires a savior and a Satan, a Skywalker and a Palpatine who somehow return, you know? A forced false binary that permeates culture. But the greater gospel is a new story, not one of good versus evil or right versus wrong, but workability. How is this working out for us? Is this decreasing harm? In any way, is this increasing well-being? And if not, then why are we doing this? That's the greater gospel. This is liberating because it's a reminder that we can choose to do this together. We can choose to do this differently. We don't have to do it the way that we've been doing it. We can choose another option. Whatever we're experiencing as humanity, we're doing it together. It's not being done to us, nor is it being done for us. We're doing it together. Whatever we're seeing, however we're experiencing it, we're doing it together. We have to shift from that paradigm of good guys and bad guys and realize they're just people, that we are all here and that all of us are responding to life as we've experienced it. And when you see things that you want to call evil, that you want to call bad, it's not because of the one, baby. It's because of the many. That's the environment we've created. And those are the responses that are cultivated in that environment. In all of our getting, we should be trying to get understanding, because that's what leads us. That's what actually leads us to solutions. The old gospel was built on a pedestal, one man speaking, thousands listening, and a system that depends on your passivity. It was a spectator sport where your only role was to agree and to submit. Bridge City is the end of the audience. It is the death of the one. We're not building a club. We're building a social infrastructure. We're not building an echo chamber. We're building an ecosystem. We're moving from the superhero myth to the collective reality. If you're tired of the one-man pressure, whether you're the one under it or the one waiting for it, it's time to change your seat. See, we aren't looking for hands to help. We're looking for architects, for strategists, and neighbors who want to build the next generation infrastructure for belonging. The future isn't going to be done to us, and it's not going to be done for us. We are doing this together. So today's question and today's invitation is this: what if the answer after the death of the one is in isolation? When I talk about the death of the one, I want you to also consider that for many, that's what deconstruction is. It's the death of the one. The religious worldview was that there is one person I can depend on, that there's one person who has my solution, that there's one person who has my answer. And when that person gets here, everything is going to be okay. So what happens when you experience the death of the one? And this is what I've seen, and you've seen it too, if you tell the truth, is that a lot of people, when they lose the one, they lose everything. They lose the one and go down to zero. They lose the one and go down to zero. Now I got nobody. But the death of the one does not have to lead to isolation. It could lead to a new way of belonging. And that's why Bridge City exists. Bridge City is building the next generation infrastructure of belonging in a post-religious world. We're creating spaces where people can connect, grow, participate, and build together without having to perform certainty, without having to surrender their humanity, and without having to pretend to be what they are not. This isn't about organizing people around doctrine. It's about organizing people around shared humanity, shared participation, and a shared commitment to decreasing harm and increasing well-being. So if you've been looking for what comes after the old story, after the performance, after pretending, after waiting on the one, then this is your invitation to come be part of Bridge City, to come belong with us, come build with us, come connect with us, come participate with us, and together, let's help build the future of community. And if you're here today, if you're watching this stream right now, and that resonates with you, and you're ready to get off the sidelines and actually start building, you're ready to get off the sidelines and actually get in the game. You are tired of waiting on one person to solve it, and you're ready to become one of the many who are working on progress together. If you're ready to stop reacting and to start living, to start connecting, to start building, then this is your invitation. And the link is on the screen. It's really simple. Go to that link, join the community, introduce yourself, and we're waiting for you on the other side. Your life does not have to be trapped in isolation. Your life does not have to get stuck in frustration. The death of the one doesn't have to be the death of your life. Losing religion doesn't have to be losing your freedom. Losing religion doesn't have to be losing your life. It could be finally finding yourself with a group of people who are doing the same thing and who are giving you the grace and the space to evolve as you see fit. That's the greater gospel. That no one owes me their lived experience, but I can learn a lot from it. When religion became authoritative, that's where the problem came in. Because it locked in the ability to interpret our experience into someone else. We outsourced our relationship with reality and our ability to look at things ourselves and come to conclusions on our own and still have the support of a community. Bridge City is the way we get that back. It's the way that we learn how to be human again, not just to feel good, but to actually do good. And if you're ready to be a part of something like that, we'd love to have you a part of this community. We'd love to have you helping out with what we do. We'd love to have you investing and supporting. We'd love to have you promoting events. We'd love to have you leading events. You could be here leading a group, helping somebody deal with, maybe you've dealt with divorce. Maybe you've dealt with losing a child. Maybe you've dealt with losing your family after religion. Maybe you've dealt with things that you have some experience and some expertise in, and somebody else can benefit from your story. Bridge City is creating that community so that you can have that opportunity, but we can't do it without you. Okay, I'm gonna shift out of preacher mode now. The music just had me set right, but will there be one today? Will there be one? But if you're here and you'd like to connect with us, the link is on the screen. That's all I have for y'all today. Thank you so much for being with us. And before we leave, you got to check out the next steps and the closing. I love you all. Until next time, be the bridge.
What an incredible session. We are just scratching the surface of what it means to live out the greater gospel. I want to hear from you. What was your light bulb moment today? Drop it in the comments right now or head over to the comments on the global campus to keep the conversation going. Speaking of moving the conversation forward, if you're making the decision to officially join Bridge City today, let me be the first to say, welcome to the Bridge. We don't believe in gatekeeping community. If you found freedom here, you belong here. Your first step is to follow the link on the screen. That is your portal to the global campus where you can transition from a spectator to a builder. We've made your pathway easy with brief learning tracks that break down our mission and our model. By the time you finish your next steps, you won't just know about us, you'll know exactly how to plug in and make an impact. Joining gives you access to member-only content, specialized circles, and courses designed to help you live better. If you're ready to bridge the gap between where you are and where you're going, click that link. We can't wait to see you inside. For the rest of our family, if you value these weekly sessions and believe that a more inclusive, empowering gospel is worth spreading, let's create an opportunity for generosity. Your giving is the fuel for this mission. It makes this space accessible, sustainable, and most importantly, scalable. When you give, you aren't just paying the bills, you are empowering our bridges to reach further and support more people who are navigating their own deconstruction. Think about it, with relatively little, we've already impacted hundreds of lives through these sessions in our virtual campus. Imagine what we can establish and promote with your consistent, intentional support. Whether it's weekly or monthly, your gift allows us to train new leaders and power new projects that move people forward. The link and the QR code are on the screen. Thank you for making a statement of support today. You are the reason this vision has legs. And finally, don't keep this to yourself. A bridge is only as effective as the places it reaches. If you know someone who feels stuck in a religious construct that no longer fits, show them that there is life after uncertainty. Share this replay, invite them to a watch party, and let's show the world that the greater gospel is exactly what we've been waiting for. Let's reach the world together. Thank you for joining us this weekend for the Greater Gospel series. To our visitors, I hope this conversation gave you something to carry with you this week. Remember, the first time you're a visitor, the second time you're a guest, but by that third visit, you're as good as family. We can't wait to see you back here next weekend as we continue to explore what an inclusive, empowering gospel actually looks like. To our members, don't let the conversation end here. Make sure to stay updated on all our upcoming events and activities by checking the comments, diving into your clubs, and keeping an eye on the global campus calendar. There is so much happening behind the scenes to help you build better and live better. That's all for today, Bridge City. As you head out into your week, remember, you are no longer bound by the old constructs. You are free to be forward-thinking, people-centric, and life-affirming in every space you occupy. Until next time, keep rising and be the bridge.
Don't sit around, please don't settle now. We can do better now. We can get up. Please don't sit around, please don't settle now. We can do better now. Get up. Please don't sit around, please don't settle now. We can do better now. Sit around.